comics should smell good. Even Morgan smells kind of good this week.
Oh, cool. Really?
Yeah,
I hadn't noticed.
Smelling good all around here. Anyway.
Can't smell anything.
Yeah, the comics smell very good this week. We have lots of things for you on this warm Wednesday. And we're going to start it off with something that is not warm and fuzzy. Oh, well, considering on your sense of humor, I guess it could be almost warm and fuzzy.
Give you warm and fuzzy feelings, maybe.
The Goon, One for the Road, One Shot by Eric Powell with a cover by the legendary Jack Davis. And this issue is dedicated to Jack Davis. Frankie and the Goon go bar hopping with a sailor buddy from Atlanta who has fancy pants. And they go from bar to bar trying to find the man that robbed this sailor. Of course, things go wrong. There are giant gorillas, Marilyn Monroe, and other strange things that you've, come to love from the world of the Goon. Kids smoking cigars, kicking people in shins, old cronies giving you, booze. It's a fun-filled adventure
like
for
Tuesday.
everybody. It does sound like Tuesday.
Something equally horrific. Oh gosh, this is a big one here. Both physically and big. This was teased, I believe, maybe a year ago originally, but this is the first issue of Robert Kirkman and Paul Azaceto's The Outcast. It's, the next big thing from Robert Kirkman. Like, what's he gonna do after The Walking Dead, and after he finishes destroying the entire Invincible universe that he built with his bare hands? Well, he's gonna write about possessed dudes, apparently. Yet another of Skybound's basically made-for-TV comics.
You get 40 pages for $2.99. Soundtrack by Andre 3000 and Big Boy not included, unfortunately. But yeah, it's already out of print. It's definitely a collector's item. I too. You're gonna make me touch that.
Yeah, I am.
From Frank Barbier and Marco Rudy. Marco Rudy, who has recently done the very trippy Marvel Knights Spider-Man with Matt Kint, and Frank Barbier, who's been writing and drawing all sorts of things.
Everything.
Or writing all sorts of things.
Ghosts,
yeah.
Dr. Solar.
White Suits.
Yeah, that.
Like, where's the 5th issue of that? Or 4th? I don't know. It's been really late. But anyway, you have an all-special, all Doctor Strange issue with some seriously psychedelic Doctor Strange art. Marvel is definitely starting to make the hype machine for Doctor Strange work now that the movie started. This has always been one of my favorite characters, and I'm very excited to see what is in store here. And you know what? There's even cheetah gloves. Cheetah gloves.
Pretty much necessary for a real Doctor Strange
It is.
story. Really exciting trade paperback collection coming out today. Boom Studios' 6-Gun Gorilla by Simon Spurrier of X-Force fame and Jeff Stokely of Being Really, Really Awesome fame.
Right.
It follows a 22nd century story about a hotly contested source of fertile land, and a couple soldiers who end up running into a, you guessed it, gorilla with 6 guns. Okay.
Do we need to talk about it more?
We say that all the time, but I
Right.
really don't think there's anything else we need to say about this book, other
No.
than it's totally beautiful.
Yeah.
And it has all of the variant covers and the regular covers by Ramon Perez, and basically anything you could want about 6-Gun Gorilla.
That's right. And we're going to throw to Mr. Professor Will, and he's going to talk to you about some comic-y stuff.
And let's kick it off with a legendary character by a legendary artist, the great Alan Davis, one of my all-time. He's on my list of guys that I have to meet before I die. Known for Excalibur X-Men, he's launching a brand new Savage Hulk anthology book. This is a blast from the past as the X-Men from in their kind of 70s look, as you see here, go in search of Bruce Banner's help to help Professor X, and chaos ensues, and the leader, and the Hulkbusters, and all kinds of cool stuff. This is great retro fun. Savage Hulk #1 by the great Alan Davis. While we're on the Hulk, another blast from the past. If you've been reading Original Sins, you know the Watcher was killed, his eyes were taken, and his eyes exploded, unleashing all these crazy secrets that no one knew. Well, this is a pretty big bombshell. I mean, everybody loves Iron Man, but Tony Stark's done some pretty bad stuff in his time. You know, he had Captain America mind wiped. Now, How is Tony Stark tied to the origin of the Hulk? We find out in this, and the battle begins. Original Sins 2 of 5. This is a great companion book. These are some other great stories of the aftermath of what's going on in Original Sins. It's the Young Avengers, which is really cool in an adventure versus the Hood. Look, the Black Knight, as you see here on the cover, is back. Plus, you get a great Howard the Duck story in here as well. I mean, what more can you want? New Avengers, Doctor Strange is going to be a big Marvel movie, and he's kind of a badass. And if you haven't been reading this is really cool. He made a deal with the devil, and kind of even beyond the devil. How did he sell his soul to get all these power to stop these incursions from the other Earth? It's really cool. I love Doctor Strange. It's a great story. New Avengers by Jonathan Hickman. And my final book, let's go over to Dark Horse Into Space. Serenity leaves on the whim. This picks up after the events of the Serenity movie. This is the big conclusion. If you love this series, if you love the movie, you're going to love this story as Mal and his crew of the Firefly take on the Alliance to save Zoe. There you go, guys. Back to you.
That was quick and succinct and very filled with information, Mr. Will. Thank you. Coming back here. Lots of image stuff this week, as usual. Trees #2, the new sci-fi book from Warren Ellis and Jason Howard, who is finally not drawing dinosaurs anymore, even though he draws really awesome dinosaurs, and doing more of a Yanni type of scratchy style here. The first issue was really cool. I enjoyed it. It's these pillars that have been dropped by alien life about 10 years ago and did nothing for 10 years. People just kind of, lived around it. And all of a sudden one day black ooze starts to come from them and infects all sorts of stuff.
And everyone knows what happens when black ooze starts getting in your things.
Especially alien black ooze. Alien black ooze. But yeah, definitely really cool. There's a scientist, a weird art kid who moves to an art city, and some punks from kind of a District 9 type of slum thing. Very fun, very cool.
From DC over here, we have the huge debut of the new Superman creative team. Jeff Johns, John Romita Jr. Jeff Johns, John Romita Jr. Can I repeat that?
Lots of punching.
Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. Jeff Johns, easily the most competent superhero writer at DC. John Romita Jr., freaking John Romita Jr.
Doing his first ever DC comic?
Everything is
Other than
super
Thorion.
chunky. Awesome hatching, ink work going on here. Klaus Janson is inking him. It's actually really, really cool. If anyone was skeptical after, Avengers vs. X-Men and that Captain America stuff, this book suits him. It really, really, really does.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Ms. Anna is here as well with some stuff from Fantagraphics and other small things that you might not have heard of. Anyway, alright. To her.
I'm going to start things off with another new addition to the EC library from Fantagraphics. This is the Joe Orlando collection of his subversive sci-fi comics featuring the titular title, Judgment Day, which has a lot of history to it, a lot of anti-racism themes that ran through his work, especially since it was published in the 50s. He's born in Italy, raised in New York, had the classic story, but was an unconventional illustrator when it came to comics. A departure from Joe Orlando sci-fi is The Amazing World of Gumball #1 from Kaboom. I'm super excited about this comic. Everyone's making fun of me for laughing during the entire time I was reading it, but it's hilarious. Frank Gibson is the writer. You might know him from Tiny Kitten Teeth, the webcomic that he does with his wife Becky. This is also illustrated by Tyson Hesse, who does my favorite all-time webcomic, Boxer Hockey, which if you haven't read it, you should check it out. This mixes styles into a crazy cat adventure story starring Gumball. They do some 3D, they do some stop-motion style animation, along with traditional cartoon illustration, but they like the show, they all combine it into a comic, and it's fantastic. You definitely need to check this out, whether you like young adult or the older stuff. We have a new book out from Malachi Ward off of Revival House Press. He does a lot of stuff from the Prophet Cruise and means Strike File, Earth War, etc., etc. But Malachi Ward does more with the colors purple, red, and cream than you ever thought was possible. This beautiful matte printed mini comic is futuristic and also really reminiscent of 60s fighting against the power. I think it's a one-shot as far as I know, but it's so beautiful. I just want to rub my face against it, but I can't because the paper quality is too nice and that would just ruin it. We should definitely pick up this indie comic and anything else Malachi Ward does. But pièce de résistance this week is the Mythology of S. Clay Wilson, Volume 1, Pirates of the Heartland. S. Clay Wilson is one of the premier alternative underground cartoonists from the 60s. He was a contemporary of Robert Crumb, who considered him one of his greatest influences. He does really gross, crazy comics, and he has weird stuff like Petey Piscums and his pervert pirates. Like, this is some straight up alternative comics. It's an amazing volume, and it's necessary for any collector. That's what I got for this week. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna, and that Judgment Day collection looks freaking phenomenal.
Those EC archives are really cool.
Something from Image here, a series that launched last month, actually. This is Cowl. We've got the second printing of number 1, as well as the second issue here. It's got really awesome sort of washy art, like Bill Sienkiewicz, Phil Noto style, dealing with the union, the superhero union that happens in this universe of Chicago. There's lots of, as you can see from this cover, people doing very, very classy things, like hanging out in strip clubs while being a superhero and just tossing money everywhere.
Yeah, Kyle Higgins, Alex Siegel, Rod Reese doing some really moody art, some nice kind of rainy pieces, kind of noir-y, pulpy. It's cool. It's nice. And if you didn't get the number 1, well, we got that back in. Also from Image, because we're Image whores, Dead Body Road by Justin Jordan and Matteo Scalera. Justin Jordan brought you Strange Talent of Luther Strode. Matteo Scalera brings you Black Science. And he somehow put this book out concurrent to Black Science. I don't know how, but he did. And this has a 2-sentence tagline. The men involved in his wife's death must now die. All of them.
That's all that it
That's
tells
all
you
there
about the
is.
story. Because that's all you really need to know.
And you open this up, and there's car chases. You know how hard it is to do really, really good car chases in comic books? It's really hard. Lots of violence, very cool, stripped down plot, stripped down action, really scratchy, nasty, you know, yeah. All 6 issues, $15.
And from Marvel here, we have the 4th issue of All New Ultimates, which, like any teen-targeted comic book, or TV show, or anime, has to have a beach episode. And that's this. The ladies of the Ultimates hang out on the beach, talk about their feelings and stuff, and of course inevitably get drawn into some sort of conflict. But there's also crazy gang action, because if there's anything that Michael Fife is good at, it's coming up with really, really, really interestingly costumed gangs. And there's a lot of them.
On the beach?
No.
Oh.
It's, you see,
I want beach
some
gangs.
comics have more than one scene in them.
Oh, really?
You know?
I'm gonna have to work that into my own stuff. Man, that's big, Morgan. Thanks. And we're gonna finish off this week with a very cute sequel to a book that you all know and love, How to Teach Your Cat About Gun Control. Well, now we have How to Talk to Your Cat About Evolution. Yes. So, clearly this cat is perplexed by the concept of evolution. This dinosaur is freaking it the hell out. So, you know, there's a lot of talks here about creationism and telling you about the danger of not talking to your cat. There's advice from experts, because cats love to sit on books and absorb knowledge through their fat.
And of course, expert is spelled with P-U-R-R in the middle, like half the words in that book.
Yes, it's cat scientists, all sorts of nonsense. It's very cute. If you have somebody with a cat, you know, obviously it's a good gift. $2, we got a bunch. And that's about it for this week. Hopefully a bit shorter, a bit quicker, a bit more to the point, and we will see you all next week. Bye.